When we first came to the Abbey, and ever since then, we've had a continual flow of guests. And so we had a slogan at the beginning that you never know who you're going to be eating lunch with. Yeah, because we had so many different people coming at different times, and that has continued on in the Abbey all the time, that we don't know who we're going to be eating lunch with. And I think that's one of the beauties of living in this community, is that so many people come, and we get people from around the world, and people with very different perspectives on life, with very different personalities, very different views, very different interests and aspirations. And to me, it's wonderful to live in a place where there's this kind of diversity. And it's something I really treasure when I come back into the US and you stand in the line and you're all groggy from an overseas flight. But in the US citizens line, there's so many different kinds of people there. And it's something that makes me, you know, really happy to see, like, all these different kinds of people. Now, of course, when there's different kinds of people, it means that people are different from us. And it also means that maybe, you know, some people frighten us. You know, not that they frighten us, but maybe we're frightened by some people, or we're frightened by their ideas, or we're frightened by the way they move, or we're frightened by who knows what, nothing at all, but our mind makes something up. Or we look at something and we don't like something about somebody, you know, and our mind makes up some story about what it is we don't like about them. Because, you know, we can psychodiagnose everybody, can't we? You know, just give us 5 minutes together with somebody, we'll give you a psychological, you know, diagnosis of that person, all their problems, their traumas, you know, why we don't like them, because who they are is the total accumulation of all my projections on them. Or maybe the total accumulation of one action they've done in their entire life. But based on that, I decided I don't like them. Or, you know, they believe something crazy, or who knows what it is. Okay? So all of us have these kinds of feelings and reactions, don't we? Now, the thing is that we're training to be bodhisattvas. And these kind of feelings and reactions just won't do in a bodhisattva's mind. You know, because a bodhisattva looks at everybody with equanimity, looking beyond all these superficial appearances, looking beyond all their projections of I like this and I don't like this, and that person does this and this person does that. And a bodhisattva looks into everybody's heart and says, they want to be happy and not suffer just like me. And it doesn't matter, you know, where they're from or what kind of body they have or anything like that. We're all exactly alike on this very basic, raw human level. Yeah? And so when we find these different kind of prejudices or, you know, opinions, or even feeling ill at ease around different people or groups of people or whatever, when we see these things arise in our mind, we have to catch them and say, this is not reality. You know, this is my projection going on. And look into somebody's heart and say, they just want to be happy and not suffer just like me. Okay, we're not different. Now somebody might say, but you know, you do have to have your street senses on, because you may be walking somewhere and you know, some guy's following you and you're suspicious of what they're doing. You don't know if they're going to mug you or knock you over the head or something like that. Yeah, so we can have our street smarts, but still in our heart, we look at everybody as they're exactly like me. They want to be happy and don't want to suffer. So if we think somebody's going to mug us, of course we act one way, but we don't have to hate that person because of it. We don't have to push that person away and say, yeah, you know? And this is one of the beautiful things I've really learned from working in prisons, is that the people who have done some of the things that I fear the most, I can actually talk to and have a good conversation with. And they're nice people. Yeah? So that part of us that is prejudice, or that part of us that just shuts down around other people, and we don't want to be around them, we have to really catch that. You know, because imagine, how can a bodhisattva have that kind of reaction towards even one sentient being? It's impossible. You know, and what if a bodhisattva or a Buddha did have that reaction, and it was about you? And some bodhisattva looked at you and went, oh, I don't want to be there near that person. Don't ask me why, but they just give me the heebie-jeebies. How would you feel if a bodhisattva felt that way about you? That would be really sad, wouldn't it? You know, you go, but bodhisattva, I thought you're supposed to, you know, kind of have some love and compassion for everybody. I'm just me. I'm not evil or bad or horrible or sinful. You know, can't you kind of at least look me in the eye and smile? You know, I mean, that's really the way we'd react, wouldn't it? So we should practice reacting this way towards other people and not give any of this kind of feeling we have about others, not give it any creed, you know, and really try and look beyond that kind of stuff. I remember once I was in a prison giving a talk, and there was one guy, you know, listening to the talk, and he was sitting in the back, and I thought, I wouldn't want to be in a dark alley with him. You know, he just had a really mean expression on his face. And I went, you know, I had this like, but then after the talk, he came up to me and he said, I'm getting released soon, and how should I practice when I'm released? And all of a sudden, it was like, you know, my whole feeling towards him changed. Because I realized, you know, I was just looking at some facial expression and imputing a whole bunch of stuff on him. But here's some guy asking me for help in the Dharma. I can't say, I don't want to be near you even in this room, let alone a dark alley. You know, I mean, when you take the Bodhisattva vow, you have to help. And also, you know, just the fact that he was interested in the Dharma showed me that he was not who I thought he was. You know, he was much more than my very ignorant, narrow-minded opinion. Yeah, so we have to really work with this in our own minds. You know, it's a very important ingredient for our own spiritual practice, because we're never going to get to be bodhisattvas if we have this kind of, you know, prejudice, and if we buy into it and act according to it. It's damaging us.